She's so fine. Hell of a blows my mind. Hell of a lights my day.
What's good, guys? Wanted to do an update video on Taylor Blackwell. I've covered her before on my channel. She's the young lady that was found dead in the Woodspring Suites in South Sacramento, California on February the 28th. So I'm just going to do a little bit of background on the case to start off with for those that aren't familiar with it. This is what happened to Taylor Blackwell. The question blared from handmade posters and from empathetic speakers at a press conference Wednesday evening, as community activists joined family and friends in calling for answers for a young black woman who was found dead at a local hotel on February 28th. That's a picture of Chiffon Buckner. That is her mother. The gathering took place outside the Woodspring Suites on La Mancha Way, where the 19-year-old spent her last moments. 4 months later, now this article is from July, so that's 9 months later now, speakers say there are still many unanswered questions. Miss Blackwell's mother, Chiffon Buckner, addressed the crowd assembled outside the Woodspring Suites. She said other than a July 2nd phone call from the Sacramento Police Department, she hasn't heard much about the investigation into her daughter's death. That call, she says, only came after a video she posted online to bring awareness to what was happening went viral, and after the singer, Trey Songz, commented on it on social media. "All I want is the truth," Miss Buckner said. Community leaders seek the same. "We're all here, every one of us, whether we knew Taylor Blackwell or whether we knew of her, because she's part of our village, she's part of our community," said Les Simmons, pastor of South Sacramento Christian Center, as he led a prayer and moment of silence. Barry Actius, I think I'm saying that right. I may be mispronouncing his name, and I apologize in advance. I know a subscriber had tried to help me with his name before. Said he was speaking not as a community activist or mentor with such organizations as Youth, Voice of the Youth, or She Could Be My Daughter, but as a father, one with 2 daughters of his own. "I think of when my daughter was 19 years old, so full of life, so ready to conquer the world, so impatient, so imbalanced, so imperfect. But I clearly remember my daughter being someone who would be a game changer. Someone I would say, I can't wait until you're 25. I can't wait to see you graduate from college. I can't wait to possibly see you get married." But for Taylor Blackwell's mother, family, friends, those moments that I will soon experience or have experienced, she can't have that opportunity. They can't have that opportunity, and I ask why, Actius said. "What happened on February 28th and why, as a community, did we not know about it?" he continued. Actius pointed out a lack of transparency and accountability for local law enforcement. "Racism is real too," he says. "I don't care about a COVID-19. I don't care about a George Floyd protest. There should be no way from February 28th to right now, July the 8th, that we don't have hardcore answers on what happened to Taylor Blackwell. If the zip codes were changed, and if Taylor Blackwell was Karen Blackwell, a 19-year-old white girl going to McClatchy High School, this would have made CNN, Time Magazine. But because, unfortunately, as beautiful as her melanated skin is, as a black woman here in Sacramento, the place of diversity and multiculturalism, where everyone is equal, she gets no justice, and her family and friends get no peace, and we still don't know what happened to this black girl." Activists are speaking out and demanding answers amid local and national calls to defund police departments and for reform related to how department police in communities of color. In the 4 months since Miss Blackwell was found dead, George Floyd died in Minneapolis, Minnesota, as a white officer held him down to the ground with a knee to his neck, and the officers involved weren't arrested until after an outcry from the community. Several African-American males have been found hanging from trees and were initially ruled suicides until the black community demanded that they actually be investigated. And a black woman, Breonna Taylor, was shot and killed in Louisville, Kentucky, where police entered her home on a no-knock warrant that have since come under fire due to community outrage. Local activist and epidemiologist Dr. Flojane Coffer says it's time for a different way forward. "I want our imaginations to remain big enough that even though this keeps happening time and time again, we still envision a future where it never has to happen again," Dr. Coffer said. To the family that attended the gathering, she said, "I don't even know where we begin to help you heal, but we're here to try." Added Miss Buckner, "All I want to know is what happened to my baby girl. I want the same justice that anyone who is in my position would want. I want the detectives to care about what happened to my daughter. And to the detectives who are on her case, if you don't care, give the case to somebody else who does." Axios said the family deserves answers, as does the wider community. "I am enraged, I am furious, and as a father, I am in fear. If Taylor Blackwell was murdered, if her death was not an accident, her killer still walks among us, free, not checked, feeling he got away and ready to do it to the next victim." I'm going to call him Barry, just so that I don't mispronounce his name repeatedly. I went to Barry's Twitter page, and I do follow him. And on July the 8th, he tweeted, "What happened to Taylor Blackwell? On February 28th, Taylor Blackwell was found dead in Woodspring Suites. Still, after over 4 months, they, family and friends, have no closure. No answers to her untimely death. What isn't the Sacramento Police Department, why isn't the Sacramento Police Department not giving the family any answers?" It's a good question. The facts of the case, I'll read this excerpt because it kind of sums it all up. It says, "Blackwell, a student at Sierra College, had been on a date the night she died with a man she met on Instagram," said her mother, Chiffon Buckner. "The man had been aggressively pursuing her and even showed up at her work once before. She went to the movies with him, came home, and then went out again after midnight without telling anyone," Buckner said. The next day, Buckner, her mother, found out from a family friend that Blackwell was believed to be dead in a one-star hotel off Highway 99. Her mother says detectives at the time wouldn't allow her to see her daughter and told her that Taylor's death was believed to be accidental. But when Buckner saw her daughter's body for the first time nearly a month later at the funeral home, it was covered with injuries. "I was assuming she had no bruises on her, but that wasn't the case," Buckner said, her voice shaking as she spoke. "When I saw her, she had a gash between her eyes on the bridge of her nose. Her lips were cracked and busted up. Her arms were so bruised up that they had to cover them. They had to go buy a sweater and a shawl to cover her arms. And nobody told me that she had bruises on her of any type, so she wasn't even ready for that." The Sacramento Police Department spokesman, Officer Carl Chan, said Blackwell's death is being investigated in conjunction with the Sacramento County Coroner's Office, but has not yet been ruled a homicide. So, I'm like the activist. If you haven't even ruled on the manner of this death, and a killer is walking around South Sacramento, or anywhere by this time, why haven't they done anything about that? I have researched for several days now. I find nothing to state that this investigation has been wrapped up. There is still no coroner's report over 9 months later. Over 9 months later. I'm not going to go through all of his account, but he tweeted this on July the 8th. "What happened to Taylor Blackwell? On February 28th, Taylor Blackwell was found dead in Woodspring Suites. Still, after over 4 months, they, the family and friends, have no closure, no answers to her untimely death. What isn't Sacramento Police Department not giving? Why isn't the Sacramento Police Department not giving the family any answers?" He tweeted this photo. "She could be my daughter. A call for justice, a call for action. To know Taylor was to love Taylor. Justice for Taylor Blackwell." They had these shirts made. To know Taylor was to love Taylor. Her mother's name is Chiffon Buckner. He's done multiple interviews regarding this. Multiple. The mayor of Sacramento actually tweeted about Taylor Blackwell. saying that his heart goes out to the family of Taylor Blackwell. He has been assured by our police department that they are doing everything in their power to finish their investigation as soon as possible. He says, "Thank you, Mayor, for your reflection and putting a sense of urgency on this case. Taylor's mother, Chiffon Buckner, thanks you deeply. To hear the mayor of her city said something about her daughter gives her a new sense of hope." That was on July the 17th. Another organized event he put together at the Sacramento coroner's office. And that's really the holdup in this case. There is still no autopsy report. There are no answers regarding this case. But this is what really did it for me. It says, "As we fight for answers for Taylor Blackwell, hear a helpful message from a concerned citizen named Cheryl Muzinich. Hashtag connect the dots." She's basically saying us asking for answers about what happened to Taylor Blackwell on February 28, 2020 is ignorant. Hashtag justice for Taylor Blackwell. So I clicked this up. She had sent him a message on Facebook that said, "Barry, do you know how many unsolved murder and death cases there are in this state, this city? Your statements are ignorant. You should educate yourself before going on the news. I suspect you are an intelligent man, but this wasn't a good look for you." Now, what isn't a good look is the fact that after over 9 months, there is still no answer as to what happened to this woman's daughter who was found dead in a hotel on February the 28th. That's what isn't a good look. So I just wanted to do an update story on Taylor Blackwell. And essentially there is no update. They still have no answers in this case. And I just think that's shameful. I know I personally have called the Sacramento County Coroner's Office multiple times and left messages on their answer machine. I just don't understand why it takes an autopsy report over 9 months to come back. If we're just using the Kanika Jenkins case as an example, we know that in October, she passed away in September. In October, we had the autopsy report. So that just gives you a little example of how long it should take. And it certainly shouldn't take 9 months to get an autopsy report back. So, you know, if you're one of those people that like to make calls and do that sort of thing, calling the Sacramento County Coroner's Office is a great look. I'm sure the family would much appreciate that, because something's got to give here. This woman should know at the very least how her daughter died. So I'm going to end the video on that note, and I'm still going to stay on this case because I want to know. I want to know what happened to this young lady. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. You guys have a great day.